Good evening. This is Beverly.
Beverly, it's Dante.
Okay. Can you hear me well, Dante?
Yeah.
Are you able to?
Yes, I can hear you.
Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Dante, I'm only able to see yourself and I'm only able to see you and me. Are we the only two people in the room?
Yes, as of right now.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Hey, Unella.
Hey, Bevy. Good evening.
Good evening. Looks like there are only two of us in the room.
Let's see. It's just a little after 7. So let's see what happened. Blackwell said she's trying to get in.
Good evening,
right.
Leslie. Hi, Leslie. How are you? Seems like Leslie can't hear me.
She muted. She's muted.
Yeah, but she should be able to hear me too. Leslie, wave if you can hear me. Ah, okay. Okay. You know you're muted, right? Good evening, Diane.
Good evening.
Good evening, number ending in 2888.
How's everyone tonight?
Fine, thank you for asking.
Good.
Good.
Your mic is across the bottom of your screen right beside the video, Leslie. It's to the left. Mine is to the left in Zoom. It looks like a little microphone. Do you see it? Do you see where it says share screen? It's the green button. Move to the left. You see start video and then you see mute.
I think that Leslie is unmuted, but we still can't hear you.
She's saying she, right. If she's unmuted, why aren't we able to hear her, Dante?
No clue. It's going to be something on her end.
She said her laptop is preventing her from unmuting.
Okay, I see what she's doing. Okay.
Okay. So you're gonna dial in with your phone? All right, cool.
Excuse me, everyone. I'm
But you know
sorry.
what, Leslie, before you dial in with your phone, log off and log back into Zoom again and see what happens. Yes, Diane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another meeting at 8:00 that I have to attend.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to be on at least until 10 minutes to 8. Okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the
Go
forewarning.
off, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Hi. Is this Estelle?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Estelle. Welcome to the meeting. How are you?
One day at a time. I'm good.
That's all we can do. So are there any other community members, Dante? Because right now I see Estelle is a community member. Diane, are you a community member as well?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
No, there's not any more in the waiting room. As people come in, I'll admit them.
Okay, thanks, Dante.
No problem.
So while we're waiting, just a couple more minutes to see if more people will come on board. Did everyone get the material that the community board sent out regarding to cease and desist?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
The 2 maps. Yes.
Okay. And that's just one of the tonight. I'm hoping we have opportunity tonight. What we're going to do is talk about and some of the upcoming events that we would like to do. We reached out at the last board meeting. I asked the board members, if you recall, and not just board members, community members as well, to give us some ideas of what they wanted to see us do between now and June. I understand from the community board that no one responded. So tonight is going to be a night we're going to do some brainstorming. There are a couple ideas that are already on the table, and we're going to see if the committee can come up with any additional, and we're going to plan when to have those things. And at least two of them right now look as if they would be good town halls. So we're going to talk about that. When would be a good time to have a town hall between now and June? When would be, and we have to talk about there's a bigger event that someone suggested in youth services. I think it was them. Oh no, at the executive committee, about all the community committees coming together and I'm participating in one big event, and they want this to happen in May. So we're going to take a vote on that from the committee tonight as well. So, and we also need to, I'm hoping someone will volunteer to be secretary too. So we have quite a full agenda tonight, and I'm hoping that in the next 2 minutes, we'll be busting at the rim, full of members, both board and committee, and we can get started because we are going to have to take some votes tonight. Okay, guys, so now it's 7:15, and Miss Shepherd has already told us she has to go someplace else, and I don't want to hold you guys here too long. So let's start out. Right now, we do not have quorum to be able to take a vote, but we can start with the agenda. And so first of all, thank you everyone for coming, and thank you for accepting and reading the material that we sent out earlier today in regard to cease and desist. So as we get started this afternoon, this evening, who would like, no, I'm going to save that till later. Sorry about that. Let's talk about what we would want to see housing do between now and June, June being the last month of the season. So are there some things that you would like to see housing do in regards to town halls? And they will be virtual, of course. Town hall, the main one is supposed to be, they want that to be in person at a big park in the back, on the back end of the district. But we'll talk about that further later on. What are some of the things that you would like to see us do? They will be virtual, the things that we're talking about. What are some of the topics you would like housing committee to cover? Does anyone have any suggestions? I know cease and desist is a topic that someone mentioned. Is there something else that members of the committee would like to discuss, would like to see us cover? Deed theft and prevention. Thank you. Whoever wrote that in the, oh, that's Leslie. Okay. Deed theft and prevention.
Oh, and to go along with that, how about lien sales?
Okay. Sales.
All right, Beverly, you're cutting in and out.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm late.
Beverly, we can't hear you.
Oh, you can't?
No.
I don't know what happened. Give me a second. I'll change devices.
Okay.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Hold on. Now I have feedback.
You're muted, Beverly. Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
there
Now,
we go.
yeah, you're good now.
Okay, thank you. So we're starting again. One of the topics that was mentioned was deed theft. Another one was tax lien sale. Are there any others? Real estate education. What aspect of real estate education? How to sell, how to buy, how to research a title? What do you mean?
Okay, hi, it's Wen. So it's really, I think we should emphasize on real estate education for first-time home buyers and anyone who needs any type of real estate education. I know there's a lot of emphasis on, I guess justifiable topics like deed theft, et cetera. But having a compassion for real estate education, myself being a real estate broker, I think, in particular, first-time home buyers, people who are looking to, become homeowners, or anyone maybe who has already owned a property, but they're looking on some, for any information on any type of topic, real estate related. So that type of thing.
When that's really broad. So you're looking at as a town hall?
No, I'm thinking those are things we can cover. Maybe have guests, not town hall, well, have guest speakers come in and talk on any topic related.
Okay, so you just want the information. You don't really want to do it in depth. You just want to do a surface kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, something that would benefit anyone in the community. So real estate education, I know there's a lot of first-time home buyer education out there. So we can invite, I know NHS is, every once in a while they come in and talk, we can have them come back, or anyone else for that matter.
Any other suggestions?
I'm I thought the real estate part was good. It's just that there's so much, multi-dwellings, these large buildings are being built in this area, and I think that would be great in terms of for people who might be interested in buying some of these homes, so we can keep it more residential than, like project-like or high-rise kind of community where we're bringing in tons of people and putting a lot of stress on the community. So I thought that was a great idea.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't think people look in this area. It's just so many high-rise buildings being built that you're losing the fact that there are like two-family homes, and we should be encouraging people to invest in them.
So you're just supporting the real estate education suggestion?
Yeah, like some communities have the first-time home buyers, and they're really into having people keep their homes. I think we should stress that in our community as well.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Any other suggestions?
Yes, Beverly, how about, just education or on the lottery or training?
Okay.
We do have a lot of new development, and the majority of the new bills are, it's via the lottery. So just ensuring that, people are applying, or, they're getting their documents, in order, and, giving them, maybe a little edge as to what can be done for people in our neighborhood, really, in the District 9, really, with all the bills coming up.
So Dante, when I asked earlier, and I was afraid I wasn't clear, and I'm sorry about that. When I asked earlier, do you have a list of developments? And you said, do I mean affordable housing? The city doesn't offer that. So every time a development comes into District 9, you guys don't get a notice?
It depends if that development is as of right or not. If they go through city planning, we do get a notice. But if it's as of
right, you don't.
Yeah, we usually do not get a notice. And most structures that go up nowadays tend to be as of right. So, we would never know. But yeah, I was just looking for some clarity on that question.
No, I appreciate that, because I was just thinking that even the ones that were built as of right, you would get a notice as a courtesy, because at some point they're going to be tagged into public services, electricity, gas, stuff like that. They're going to be blocking up the street. They need a permit for that, things like that. So I was just thinking that as a courtesy, you guys would be given a heads up.
Yeah, I haven't seen, I can't recall a time when we've gotten a notice from an as of right development. But I can most definitely inquire with the Department of City Planning if we're supposed to get the notice.
No. Yeah, thank you, Dante. I'd appreciate it. Because what I was seeking the information for is to see if we could fall into, just like was saying, a lot of these places are going to be using the lottery, but as of right isn't going to be doing that. Now that I think about it, as of right isn't going to be using the lottery.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Affordable housing, it uses the lottery. Okay.
Dante.
Thank you, Dante. If you can get that information, that would be grateful. If you can't, then we're not going to stress it. Okay.
Yeah. Understood.
All right. Thank you. But we can reach out and educate. Yes, Jay.
After I'll let you finish, Miss. Please finish.
Thank you. Dante, I just wanted to ask a question. I'm sorry, Ms. Bev, is it okay?
Sure.
Thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
Doesn't the Department of Building and Planning website post the information, whether it's as of right or underneath for zoning?
Yeah, so yes, they would continue.
I was just trying to, in my head, I'm like, I know that's on that site, so that's why I was asking the question.
Right, yes, so it is on the site, but for like the developments themselves, we don't really, I can't recall a time where we've received a notice for something that's as of right. But yeah, I mean, folks they'll have to do their due diligence and research, but you know, Zola is a really good tool if you're looking for the development that's coming in Community District 9. And then also sometimes it's not development. You know, there's also I would say there's also been issues with you know, people altering their homes, and so that wouldn't go through city planning. That would go through the Department of Buildings. Sometimes an alteration can be massive. It can almost seem as if they're adding another story. So sometimes that stuff doesn't go.
Anything going through city planning that's that large would have to they would generally come to the board and ask for a recommendation or support, and especially if they're outside of a zoned area, unless it's as of right, but it would still be on the public site that you would be able to gather the information. Because my understanding in the conversation was that she was asking about gaining information, and you were saying you'd look into it. And I was just making it plain that this is public information posted on the site. I'm sorry.
Oh, I understand. Yes.
Now
yes.
Are we on the same page?
We understand. We on the same page.
Okay,
oh yes, this is all public information. But Madam Chair, I also just wanted to inform you that you do have quorum.
Oh, thank you, Dante.
You're welcome.
Jay, I'm going to ask you to say what you needed to say, and if everybody's okay, we're going to take a vote. Go ahead, Jay.
Okay. I think you were discussing new possible areas of the community's concern, if I'm correct, new topics to deal with.
On the housing, from housing standpoint.
Right. So I had a topic which was, I think might be relevant. What it is it's the 900 units that are going to be coming to what's called a new development called Kingsborough West. And it's at the corner of Albany and Clarkson. So what they plan on, and that's what they plan on doing is they plan on demolishing the 2 homeless shelters that are there, rebuilding the homeless shelters, giving ownership of the land to a developer, and building 900 various affordable housing units. And within that, 35% of them are, at least 35% are going to be supportive housing. So there's a whole bunch of different issues which come into it, I think, which will be relevant for the housing committee. Number one is that is the community board going to be able to get involved and have their say? Because the state owns it now. And the way that I was looking at the project, I think the state might be doing a runaround or what's almost like a workaround, trying to avoid this going to the community board and getting the citizens' participation in it. It's called Kingsborough West. New York State owns the land, and what they want to do is they want to build up to maybe 8 different stories. They want to get zoning changes, which should involve, ULURP for the ownership of it. But it's a very big project. It's going to bring in a lot of supportive housing, and there's a question when it comes to housing as to whether Clarkson is becoming oversaturated with homeless and also social services. And there's a lot of people who are against it. 2 block associations who I spoke to say that they weren't informed. They want to know more about it. So I think bringing to light specifics on this Kingsborough West, which is going to have like It's going to have a food store. It's going to have a supermarket there. And that's in addition to what's coming to, of course, Kingsbrook Jewish, which is also going to have a tremendous housing development. And I think also a supermarket there also. So my focus is on the Kingsborough West because you have a lot of supportive housing units around. You have a lot of homeless shelters. There was a new homeless shelter built in 2017. This community board had a meeting in which people were very opposed to, I believe, the homeless shelter near Rogers Avenue. And what I would ask is if the housing can maybe contact city planning and to find out basically a residential beds analysis for saying how does Community Board 9 compare to the other districts when it comes to residential beds.
Okay, so you would like that to be on the list as well?
Yeah, to take a look at Kingsborough West, and what my request is, I'll be quite honest, is that if they find out, because you have two, on all four corners of Clarkson and Albany, you've got basically facilities for the homeless. You've got two Canva buildings to the west side on Albany and Clarkson. You've got two homeless shelters to the east side, that's Kingsborough and Salvation. You've got another homeless shelter that they built in 2017 called Breaking Ground that was built on the grounds also. That's 5. And then they're going to come out with 35% of 900 units, which is almost 300 more supportive housing. And it's in that area. So it's a question. Yeah.
So Jay, just so I can be sure, I can be clear.
Yeah.
Even though you're not focusing on in your request, the focus isn't on the amount of units that's being built. It's what percentage of those units are being given to social services?
Both of those points. Number one is the total amount of units, because there's a question as to how that's going to affect homeowners who need parking. If you don't have enough parking when it comes to the 900 units plus the supermarket, so the units, the total amount of units in the breakdown of the bedrooms and everything is relevant. The second part of it, in terms of how much is going to social services and how much is going to certain groups, if you give 35% of it to supportive housing, that comes at the expense of other members of the community who don't have affordable housing.
Okay, so I'll put that on the list, right? But if I'm not mistaken, that is the project that fell in Diana Richardson's district, right?
Yes, Community Board 9,
right.
Everything on Clarkson up. So that whole area is that, and there's a fair share issue with it, and
exactly.
A lot of
so
issues.
we're gonna put that on the list of potential topics to be discussed. But you understand that's 2 separate topics. When we talk about what covers housing, then we're talking for you, it's housing for the homeless or the housing for or social services housing. Housing, affordable housing for mainstream individuals and people who are in need of social service. That's your request. You have two requests, right?
Well, if I were to make one request.
Okay, yes, please.
I were to make one request to make it simple, just to tell you, there's, in addition to the big project at Kingsbrook Jewish, which is affordable housing and a supermarket, you have this at 287, which is Kingsborough West, which is a massive one. And then you have also the third project on Clarkson is called Clarkson Estates. And that's affordable housing mixed in with housing for homeless youth, mixed in with individuals exiting the jails. So you have 3 projects that are going on in Clarkson, and it's all relevant. My request, if I had to make one request to you, it would be, can you ask city planning for a residential beds analysis by district? They did this there's something called like a fair share criteria. If anybody wants to Google it, you do fair share criteria. It was done in like 1992 with Rudolph Giuliani, and at the back of it, there's 4 pages. Those 4 pages it tells each district and says, this is the amount of residential beds in each district. So city planning has the data. Somebody with a computer who knows what's going on in city planning could say, this is where Community Board 9 is. And
so I'll place that on the list, but when we talk about fair share,
Yeah.
one, as you know, there's not a clear definition regarding that. And two, each state makes their own decision. Like, communities become oversaturated. For all of us who are not aware, communities become oversaturated because each government comes in with their own rules. The city can come in and they place somebody, say for instance, on Flatbush Avenue. The federal government can come in and place a house or a social service right beside it. Even though the community as a whole is screaming, we have our fair share, because each one of those entities are operating in their own, with their own rules. What is the fair share? Because neither one of those entities work collaboratively. Only
Right.
the community is feeling the pressure. So we can add those. We can add those, but I can see your social service request moving to the social service committee.
And
Okay.
if I could just respond to your point, you're absolutely right. There's no exact answer as to what is like a fair share, what's oversaturated. But the simple question is, if somebody says, what is the residential beds per district? That's the criteria that you could easily figure it out by comparing the districts. Residential
Okay.
beds per 1,000, and they have the numbers.
Hello?
Okay. Thank you,
Hello?
Jay. Yes, Yanela.
In the same light, I mean, this is my end of the district, and in the same light, we are oversaturated, and we've been there already with all these elected officials about the services on this end of the district. So yes, I hear and I understand.
And for all of us who are in the room too, it's important to know that in all of the areas of our community, we are passing by social service places and we don't know that's what they are. So there are the ones we see and are aware of, and then there's the ones we don't know anything about that we pass every day on the way to the train station or the bus or whatever. So yes, we will put that on the list. And we can see if someone can give us how many we have currently. Because when Rogers Avenue was built, that discussion came into play as well. Are there any more suggestions? Right now we have deed theft and prevention. We have tax lien sale. We have real estate education for first-time home buyers. We have Kingsborough West, 2 parts, the social service part, housing, and the 900 units that are being built. And we have the desire to talk about lottery education. Is there something else people want to add? Thank you, Jay. Is there something else people want to add? No? Okay, so I hope everybody, these are good. I'm noticing that most of these topics are, does anyone see any of these topics as being a town hall?
I hope so.
Because it's so many, yeah.
They all wouldn't be offered at the same time,
No,
Blackwell.
I'm saying, in saying so many, I mean, like at least 3 of them are such huge topics that will require more than one aspect just to divulge that topic.
Okay.
So
all right,
I
cool.
could see
I like that.
maybe a couple of town halls if you can work it.
So while we have quorum, let's take a vote. We need a secretary for this committee. And I'm asking, is there anyone who's currently interested in being secretary for the housing committee? If so, please speak up or raise your hand or do both.
Madam Chair, if I may, anyone who is interested in being the secretary, we have tried to streamline this process. Well, we get it. We've seen the same issue across a couple of committees. We have created a template for secretaries to make it easier to record the minutes for committee meetings. We will send that to you. If you have any questions about how the minutes work, you can always call the board office. We're there obviously for assistance. But this is extremely important, right? When the committees have secretaries, the information
Our minutes get in on time.
Right. That's fair. The minutes do get in on time. And that process just makes it much easier for us to get that information out to the board members, and then out to the public, and then of course posted on our website. So, if you're thinking about being secretary, if you have any questions about the job, I'm here. It's really not that much, just recording the minutes of the committee meeting, and there's already a template.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you guys vegetate on it for right now. Remember, we have quorum. No one can leave the room until we vote for secretary, okay? So just give it a minute, think about it. I have another question. At the last executive committee, it came up that a suggestion was made for all the committees to participate in a large event in May, depicting the community board as a whole. Each committee would have a table or have some level of demonstration. And we had to take it back to our committees to take a vote to see if this is something our committees would desire to do, because it would be kind of hands-on deck kind of thing. So I'd like to take a vote right now. If you are interested, if you are someone who think that's a good idea, raise your hand, please. Or just say yeah, because I'm on my phone now, so I don't see everyone. Hey, Dante, can you see everyone?
Yes.
Okay, great. So if you are interested, if you think this is a good idea and this is something you can see yourself participating in, please raise your hand.
If you're on the phone, I believe it's *6. Let me just *9. *9 is to raise hand if you're on your phone.
Thank you, Dante.
No problem.
So no one in the room thinks that the event in May as a large committee in an outdoor space would be a good idea?
Hands raised are Estelle Miles and Unella Romeperry.
And how many members we have here?
Let's see. Let me bring up, give me 1 second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so on the committee, also more hands have been raised. Lisa Farrar raised her hand as well. So on the committee, there are 11 people. I see Estelle Miles is here, Unella's here, Lisa, that's 3, you, Beverly, 4. On the committee, Augustine, 5. Wendy was 6, Diane Shepherd,
All
7.
these are hands up?
No, those are just how many members are on the committee.
Oh, okay.
So just to confirm the quorum, the only hands that are raised for the question, hands raised are Estelle Miles, Unella Romeperry, and Lisa Farrar.
Okay. Okay, so that's not a majority. All right, then.
Bev, can
Yeah.
is it that further clarification or information as to what this entails, or what we're gonna do?
So for right now, what they're suggesting is that they want the community board 9 to show up. They want to do a outdoor event, and they want it to be in a big open space. I'm assuming it's one of the parks, and they want a representative or each committee to do something representative of their committee. Some committees are going to table, some committees are going to do presentations, but they wanted to see how many committees wanted to be present, wanted to be a part of this. And that's what this vote is for. How many members of housing would be willing or have a desire to participate in this type of event?
Well, given the fact that housing is such a big item and it's newsworthy in our district, I think that we should represent. I know my end of the district, as Jay said, that Kingsbrook Jewish, where they're at over 300 unit development is coming here in a minute now, because the permits were filed and all of that. So I think when we look across the district, and just for information, Jay, I thought I heard that where they have the Kingsborough Psychiatric Center, that at some point in time, that's going to be like more a co-op entity as part of the Vital Brooklyn initiative project from the state. Later on, I guess that's the second phase after Kingsbrook Jewish. So I think that with where we are as far as housing and developments in our district, that housing should really, take an active role in this.
So is everyone in agreement with what Unella just said, or are there more people willing to sign on after what Unella said? Because I got to admit, number one, Community Board 9, and along with all agencies in New York City, we've been virtual now for 2 years, going on 3. And our community haven't really had access, and developers are still building, landlords are still evicting, all these things are still happening. And housing, along with food, are the most essential things in our lives. So I agree, but housing is a team, and it takes a majority for us to be able to participate in the event, because they are asking the housing committee to show up.
Bev, I can't figure out how to raise my hand, but I do. Hello.
Okay.
But I do agree that, the housing committee needs to be represented. As just, I guess we have to wait and see what time calls for with our current scenario as we've been dealing, at that time in May. Who knows what's going to be happening right now? They're so crazy with their rules and regulations. They're telling you kids still have to wear a mask in school, but you don't have to wear a mask in the restaurant or in closed spaces. So now help me make that make sense, and I'll tell you, your government knows what they're saying, and I'm a civil servant of this city for 28 years this year, okay? So
congratulations.
Look.
So right now, Dante, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 people, that's including myself, 5 people signed on to do the housing, the tentative housing event in May.
I believe
is that what you counted as well?
Also.
Can I say something?
Yes. Identify yourself, please.
Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
Hi. Okay, so I really don't mind raising my hand. I was just hoping to hear a little bit more on what this event is going to accomplish. But
well, see, honestly, it's an event. When you say accomplished, it's an event that will enable the community to have access. It's just like most things. It's just like the town hall we're talking about. It's just like the presentation that we're asking people to come to Community Board 9 and do. It'll give, we are receiving information with an opportunity to ask questions.
Okay. I'm gonna raise my hand. Okay, so I'm gonna raise my hand so you can come.
Okay. Thank you, Wendy.
Sure.
And no, a date hasn't been decided. When the executive committee came up, someone suggested on the executive committee, I said I had to go back and ask my committee members if this is something they wanted to participate in, and the other chairs followed suit. So
right now, just like Dante said, there is no date. It's just a month, and they've picked May because
Okay,
they're
and,
waiting
and
for us to come back.
right, and I guess we're gonna craft our agenda for the housing based on the majority and the needs of what we want to promote.
Oh, you mean the when we do the if we do the event in the park?
At the event, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Because remember, we're also discussing tonight what events we're going to be doing prior. Are we going to be doing a town hall? If so, how many? What are the topics going to be? So we and if we are going to participate in that, what would the community have questions about? We know the popular question is, where can I find an apartment? How can I stay in my apartment? And how can I find an inexpensive apartment? We know out of the gate, we know those are the most asked questions. We know that. So we're going to be prepared to answer those, but we want to be able to answer some more too, because if we're doing town halls virtually, if we're doing meetings and presentations virtually, we all know that a lot of our community still isn't online. That's one thing that COVID has illuminated to everyone. There is a serious digital divide. So even with all the programs that are out now, having access to internet and being able to have the money to buy the hardware, those are two different things as well. So yes, Unella, that will be decided based on what we decide to do prior to those months before. Does that help, Wendy?
Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
My pleasure.
And,
Yes,
and just a suggestion that with the new developments that's coming, I know we have Kingsbrook Jewish that's coming on board. They are able to, the community residents or their neighbors, partners in the community in having, updated information as to what's going there, the progress, as to how they could, make sure it's kind of seamless or it's less stressful for the neighbors or the people in the neighborhood. And so at some point, I think maybe we could, get information or suggest having a meeting and have a representative come to us to kind of give us, a timeline as to how things are going next door. And I know, as Jay said, there is going to be a supermarket there on a ground floor, and on top of that supermarket, there are going to be apartments as well. So, it's something that they could give us, or we could ensure that we have updates as to how the project's going, how is it affecting the neighbors and the people in and around the surrounding, that kind of thing.
So I have a question of the housing committee as a whole. Given that Kingsburg, the project Jay's talking about, the project Nunella's talking about, is a huge project that's part of Vital Brooklyn. Do you think that this is more suited in a committee presentation or a town hall, a committee town hall? Jay, I see you shaking
Maybe
your
the
head. Is that shaking your
presentation
head like,
first.
what the
and
hell? All right. What?
I feel like maybe a presentation first and
Yeah.
see where that can go, like how much intel we could offer for a town hall through that information. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. So a committee presentation first.
Yeah.
So we invite the community liaison for the project to the Community Board Housing Committee to do a presentation. We listen to him or her, ask all questions that we think are pertinent, and then we decide at that point if it's suitable or the broader community needs to hear more about the project or what they have to say. Yes. And that would bring in more discussion about Jay's social service 35%.
Exactly. And like what information they could provide for, or whether they could provide information thinking now of the town hall that we would present or pass out or distribute to the community as a whole.
Okay, sounds good. So Unella, given that you're on that side, do you have a contact person that we can invite to the housing committee to do a presentation?
I sure do.
Okay, thank you. Are you guys, two things. The presentation, we are in February. March, we will have a deed theft presentation. It will last about a half an hour. Do you want to have that presentation or do you want to have the Kingsbrook presentation in April? Committee? Anybody?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry. Say that again.
So, when we reach out to the person to do the presentation, we have to give them a date. So I'm asking the committee, is April a good date?
Yeah, especially
Our
starting to
April
ask
meeting.
now. Especially
Right,
if
we need to
starting to
ask
ask
now,
now.
yeah.
With the pandemic, everything is backed up slow. There's no space, no time, nobody available, you know. So this would be a nice time frame to start from now for April.
Okay, so
Is it-
everybody's in agreement, the majority is in agreement that April, we'll have a presentation, say for instance, a half-hour presentation from the community liaison or the project manager for Kingsbrook. And we will ask the questions that we want to know. Yes?
Yes.
Perfect. So April, we're going to have a presentation from Kingsbrook project, Vital Brooklyn project. Just so you guys know, we have someone who works with deed thefts who have agreed to come in March. She will be doing a half-hour presentation in March. So right now we have two presentations, deed theft and prevention. And we have the Kingsbrook one in April. Okay? Yes?
Oh,
No?
Madam
Yes.
Chair, building your list and knocking it down.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what I can do, and the person who suggested tax lien, what I can do is ask the person who is doing the deed theft presentation, because she's good in tax lien as well, if she can present on that topic, because she has a half an hour. Is that the kind of depth that you were looking for, or you were looking for something bigger?
I think that would be fine if she can cover both. Yeah.
Perfect.
If I may, back in December, the board, I guess we sponsored a lien sale event with the Department of Finance. What I can do, and this is completely up to the committee, does not make a difference one way or the other. We'll leave it in y'all's capable hands. I can reach out to Department of Finance again and have to see if they can do another presentation. I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour over lien sales. So essentially what I'm asking is, you know, if this is a route that you guys want to go, then the Department of Finance would do all the work. We would just have to advertise it.
Okay. So committee, just so you know, if Department of Finance comes in and do a presentation in March, and we're doing a deed theft presentation in March as well, that means our entire committee period will be presentations. Are you okay
Probably
with
gonna
that?
need to separate those two.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Or we could easily, the person, what we can do, you know what, Dante, hold that for just 1 second. Oh, okay. Leslie said night of presentations is good with her. Is there anyone else who, tell me how you guys feel about a night of presentations? That means there'll be no business. But that will push us to handle business tonight, set our task, and then next meeting, we will have no business, and the meeting after that, we'll have business. That's what that means. That's what the calendar would look like. Wendy
So
says that's fine.
is it possible to limit it like a part 1, part 2? That way we do have some business and they limit the presentation.
Yeah, we can do that. We can ask Department of Finance if they can do part 1 and part 2. And we can add the part 1, part 2, wherever we put the real estate education, that can be there.
That we could limit, we'll have some business and presentation.
Right. So when we divide it up, we can put tax lien along with real estate education. Because remember, as homeowners, many of us don't think about once we finish paying our mortgages, we have taxes to pay.
Those two do coincide with each other.
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
And
they
a lot of
kind
people
of
don't
like
think
neck
about
and
that.
neck. Mhm.
So maybe those two topics would be good partners. Deed theft and tax lien, and real estate education for first-time homeowners, and tax lien. You're right. Maybe they'll be good partners. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll see if we can find a presenter to present on the real estate education. So am I hearing that we're okay having presentations at every one of our meetings till June? Am I hearing that? Are we okay with that? Yes, no, maybe so.
Why not? Each month,
Yeah, I'm good with
It's
it.
kind of
Gaining
like
new
snack
knowledge.
in class, right?
You know?
Yeah. Okay, so that'll be the goal. So March we have a presentation. April we have a presentation. May we'll work on having the real estate education with the tax lien presentation. We'll work on to see if we can find a guest for that.
Is it May the same time you're waiting to find out if they're gonna do the big
But
event?
we're talking about for the committee presentation, that event that they're talking about, I think they discussed, Dante, am I right? They wanted to have it on a Saturday or a weekend day or something like that?
Yeah, it sounded like to me that most likely an event of this nature would happen on a Saturday.
Right.
My concept was that, this in May, when we meet, the things you're planning to do in May, we'll be busy occupied with that when we'll need to be prepping and preparing for the event.
Yes, but given the size of our committee, we can multitask and we can have a subcommittee inside of our housing. And those individuals will be working on, they'll be getting the topics from us, but they'll be locking down the logistics. They won't be on their own. They'll be getting the topics from the broader committee and they'll be locking down the logistics.
You got it worked out, Madam Chair. Thank you much. Just trying to get clarity.
No, that's okay, Augustine. Thank you. Because the broader group wants to know the same thing. You're just the one asking. It's okay.
It's okay. I was trying to work it out.
No problem. So one of the things, I have a question. Do you guys see town halls in our future before June? If so, how many? Now remember, the presentations that we're talking about currently are happening during our committee meetings. Now, I'm asking, because it's been a while since Housing Committee has done anything on a broad scale for the community. And right now, because we're in a virtual culture, do you see town halls happening between now and June? Yes, no, maybe so.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's right before June is the primary. There's a Democratic primary, I think, that's going to happen in June, right? So if
Yes,
there's
the elections are in June. Yes.
Right. So if there's a controversial issue like this homeless shelter thing, and all these supportive housing that's going on at Kingsborough West, that they haven't told anybody and that they won't even respond to my FOIL requests for 8 months, New York State. They've been ignoring me for 8 months, not one document, and they're supposed to do it in 30 days. June is a perfect time because primary, it could be a campaign issue over saturation of social services.
So Jay, you see is holding them hostage with answer this, so I won't do that. That's what you see?
Either they're working for the community or they're working for the lobbyist.
I'm not in disagreement. I'm not in disagreement. Okay, so Leslie's saying yes, it can work. So the town hall, I have a question. Has anybody been to state webinars since we have been locked down for COVID, where they talk about, the last one I saw, they were talking about the emergency rental assistance program. I've been to one where they were talking about COVID in general. Have anyone been to a virtual webinar or a virtual town hall?
Unfortunately, I'm kind of forced to.
So you know that even though it's not as reach out and touch as it is when we do it in person, it does give people an opportunity to ask questions, and it gives people opportunity who wouldn't be at the in-person one to be at the virtual one.
It's also a lot easier to structure via online. Yeah,
exactly. It's a lot easier.
We learned that doing Community Board 9, you know, that it's a lot easier to get your information out there, be actually be heard and understood, you know. So
because one of our committee members said, wouldn't that be hard to do virtually? And that's why I went all the way back to see if anyone has seen one, so we could use the point of reference. It is easier to set up. The only thing that kind of gives you pause is how many people are going to have access, and are the people that you need to have access going to have access? That is the only thing when you talk about virtual, again, because we talk about the digital divide, but we don't really think about, many of us don't really think about what that means. Even if the government is presenting an affordable broadband program, you have to have the money to buy the hardware. And a lot of families are struggling with rent, food, or internet. Internet is last. So I
hate to tell you, but since this pandemic, your government has been giving out laptops the same way they did the Obama phones.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw she dropped the mask mandate. That's kind of painful though. But hey, but I didn't know that. Where do I go to get that information?
I don't know. They kind of like pop up on the street the same way as the.
Jay is saying it's for businesses, not for school. How do you know, Jay?
I read it online. I read it this afternoon. I think they said that for businesses, you don't need the mandate. They said schools is still continuing. And I think also for maybe like homeless shelters and some other places.
That's why I said what I said, you know, earlier. I told you, it's like really, you know, Hoku got on the news and spit this stuff out, and I'm going, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Are we still going to be wearing them on the bus?
I am. Listen, I know I'm not taking mine off. I can only protect me.
But let's get back to, how can parents get laptops in their hands like the people got
the same way they did the phones outside of buildings, shopping areas? They set up those little booths. You walk by, they get your information. If you're on assistance, they've been issuing them out. I'm gonna check tomorrow when I go in and see if they're still doing that. I know they've been doing it all of 2021.
Okay, let me know. Okay,
it's not something I keep my head into, but I know they've been doing it since the pandemic. So I'll let you know if it's still happening now.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I'll call you.
So the question, when someone asked the question, would it be harder? So that would be the only thing that gives you pause. If the people who need the information will really be able to access it. But the good thing about Zoom though, is that it has a dial-in function. It's not quite as engaging as the video part, but it does enable people to get access when they need it. It does enable them to ask the necessary questions.
And get
So
an
that's,
answer, yes.
yes, and get an answer. So think about how you envisioning, committee members, think about how you envision a housing town hall looking. And one of the topics based on the information, I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to read the legislation that's being opposed about the cease and desist and what zip codes is currently in. Now, Fred came up with a suggestion that he wants the community board to create a map and expound on the current zip codes. Is everyone in the room aware of what zip codes are currently in the cease and desist zones? There are 12, 13, 14. There are 14, and the way it's working, a homeowner it expires on 2025, and a homeowner has to apply to be, they have to say they want to be on the cease and desist. So that means you have the homeowner's first, last name, and address on an Excel spreadsheet, which is kind of uncomfortable, but that's the criteria. So if you, in reading this, do you think the discussion about cease and desist is worth an in-depth conversation, or you can just do a presentation and be done?
Well, and we could do the presentation and see where it goes from there.
So just like the Kingsbrook one?
I mean, we could, yeah, for cease and desist, and bring someone to give a presentation, and that way we could, if necessary, build on it and based on what the committee suggests after.
Okay. So one of the things that, and I'm gonna admit, I'm gonna run this past you guys, but I'm gonna ask you it. How many of us are familiar with Mitchell-Lama?
I am. Yeah.
Kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
I know Mitchell-Lama.
Okay,
Yeah.
so are we familiar that there are Mitchell-Lama rentals, Mitchell-Lama home ownership, cooperatives, condos? One of the things that has happened with the housing crisis, a lot of the truly affordable housing under the title of Mitchell-Lama has disappeared, over half of the portfolio. So there's been some rumor about bringing that back. And one of the things we're looking around at all this new development that's unoccupied, and people are asking, why can't we make them homeless shelters? Do we really need a 22-story homeless shelter?
No.
Sitting smack dab in the middle of Brooklyn?
No.
Nah. So I'm thinking as housing people, we should become familiar. We're familiar with market rate. We're familiar with regular rentals, but many of us are not familiar with Mitchell-Lamas. And as housing committee members,
or co-ops or condominiums. Sorry.
I'm sorry?
I said or co-ops and condominiums.
Right, and Mitchell-Lama has all of those. So when we talk about truly affordable, the Mitchell-Lama program is truly affordable, even though now they skip from market to public housing is truly affordable, but Mitchell-Lama allows for home ownership. So I'm suggesting that we do a town hall, and you guys tell me what you think. That we do a town hall, we bring HPD in, or no, I'm sorry, DHCR in to discuss Mitchell-Lamas, what facets, what different kinds there are, and what that means. What can be done with the current housing to turn it over into Mitchell-Lama housing? Is this an education that the committee would be interested in?
It's a very good concept. Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, a lot of the buildings that were built before COVID, they're still empty.
Yeah, and just so you know, like New York City housing, the city has been selling New York City housing
Yes.
for almost a decade now, and a lot of them have actually gone, I want to say semi-private, but it's really
Right.
private. They kind of like playing it semi-private. Like
Yes.
a lot of New York City housing buildings are now paying light or gas or both, or, you know, and they're paying their rent to a different vendor separate. It's not
Right.
the housing authority. Yeah.
So, and with that being said, from Blackwell, you know, that town hall could be truly affordable housing. So that would include public housing and Mitchell-Lama.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're going to talk about affordable housing as a housing committee, we need to know what that looks like. We need to know what the salary boundaries are. We need to know what the rent looks like if we're going to talk about it as members of housing committee. And when someone tells us, well, my rent is $2,500, as housing committee members who've truly seen what truly affordable is, we're like, wow, that's high. When you're only making what, $45,000, $50,000. And everyone's familiar with the term rent burden, right? That's when you're paying 50%, more than 1/3 of your salary into rent. So,
Well,
I'm putting that suggestion out there.
Affordable is supposed to be 35% of
Exactly.
your income.
So I'm putting that suggestion out there. You guys tell me if this is something that you feel you would like to be a part of as for town hall. And it's strictly for education, us as housing people being educated, the community being educated, because paying 40-50% of your income into rent is not affordable. But because it's less than what the norm is, people are looking at it as, okay.
And
Right,
that norm has rapidly been going up.
Yes.
But Mitchell-Lama is based on their income. So
yes, Mitchell-Lama is based on your income.
So that is you know, in keeping with housing, is really one of the truly where, you know, you're not going to be rent poor.
If you realize how Mitchell-Lama works, just to skate over the surface, everybody, if you find you lose your job, and if you lose your job and you're living in a Mitchell-Lama apartment, condo, co-op, whatever, when you hand in your recertification, your salary, your rent is adjusted accordingly. That's how Mitchell-Lama works. So
exactly correct.
If this is something that you guys would be interested in putting a town hall together on, we reach out, and the agencies that
we're starting to chop up.
Beverly, you're frozen.
Yeah, you're getting choppy.
Oh, I'm getting choppy again?
Yeah. Okay, now you're good.
Okay. So it's about information, not just us, but for the community as well. So is the majority okay with that? Is the committee okay with that?
And Madam Chair, if I may, just for some supplemental information.
Sure.
So as we talk about Mitchell-Lamas, I actually worked at HPD before taking the job as district manager. Actually,
I remember
Mitchell-Lama portfolio. So if if that's something that the committee wants to entertain, I absolutely have no reservations about reaching out to HPD, the Mitchell-Lama portfolio, to see if they could set something up for us. And then of course we can also we definitely need to bring in DHCR. Coming from the housing agency, I'm actually very pleased, very pleased that you all are extremely knowledgeable about the Mitchell-Lama portfolio. That makes me very happy because there are a lot of people who live in Mitchell-Lamas that, you know, aren't extremely familiar with the rules, and you all are very familiar with it. So that is very good to hear. But yeah, I just wanted to leave that information out there.
No. Once you say you'll do an outreach, trust me, we're gonna grab that hand and let you do the outreach before you draw it back. So if you could do that, we truly appreciate it, and let them know we haven't, guys, what first, do you see affordable housing, which includes Mitchell-Lama, and if we can get someone to speak on NYCHA, which is public housing, do you see that being a good town hall? If so, when would you like to have it? Committee?
Well, that would probably be in the summer or after, depending on how the agenda goes.
Because remember, we as a housing committee board members, we can't do anything in the summer because the board is, I forgot the term they use, but
On vacation.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
term they use that we can't do any work in the summer.
So you only have up until June.
We only have up until June to do a town hall. So right now, every meeting we have from now until June is a presentation. We don't have any town halls on deck currently.
Well,
We have a presentation from Kingsbrook that might lead to a town hall. And we have a presentation on cease and desist that might. But cease and desist by itself is not a town hall.
It sounds like there's enough information to be put out to put together a town hall. I mean,
agree.
like, yeah, you understand what I'm saying? You have
Yes,
a
I do.
set for each one of these topics. I guess we would need, if you put 3 in there, you would need 3 rooms to do it virtually. Like, this room would be for this
Oh, I
topic,
see what
that
you're
room would be
doing.
for that topic.
You mean for the Mitchell-Lama one?
Yes, and also, before I forget,
Yeah.
with the Mitchell-Lama and the co-op and business, you want to add the information for SCREE and DREE for our seniors to
100%.
freeze their rent.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Something else, I can't, my brain done went to sleep, sorry.
So, I have a question, committee. Affordable housing town hall, April, May, or June?
Well, just put it and then as we go along, we'll see where we are, and if we need to adjust this.
But remember, when Dante reaches out to someone who's going to be presenting, they need to know a day.
And they need advance notice,
Yes,
especially now.
Don't we have April already done?
Not as a town hall, no.
You have the presentation, so then make it in June then.
Okay. So Dante, when you reach out to them, let them know we're going to do the presentation in June.
Okay.
Ask them to leave the first 2 weeks open for us, and we'll get back to them with date specific.
Understood.
Okay, thanks, Dante, for that.
Of course.
Okay. So now Dante has HPD and HCR. If we know someone from those areas, we're going to wait to see who he gets. Does anyone know someone from NYCHA or public housing?
No, but let me just say, Dante, you do know we are Mitchell-Lama, that's supervised by HCR.
Yes. Yeah.
So, right. So, but in keeping with that, like I said before, I do believe that's part of Vital Brooklyn too, to get more Mitchell-Lama homeownership going in the district.
But currently, Vital Brooklyn is not headed that way, correct? I didn't hear that in that project.
Not the first phase. This is the first phase.
Thank you for coming, Leslie.
Yes, this is
They're
the
going
first.
in stages.
They're going in phases, and the first phase is not. I think it's coming either the second phase, or later on down. That's what it's coming.
Okay. All right. So Dante, give them the heads up at least the first 2 weeks of June.
Okay.
Okay.
All
And
right.
so when we talk, and guys, if you know someone who is a community liaison, a community outreach person for NYCHA, Jay, Augustine, Yanela, if anybody in the room knows someone, could you please ask them, would they be willing to present for us and talking about NYCHA?
nice.
Talking about NYCHA, Wendy,
I can do it.
Estelle.
I can do that. I'll reach out to government affairs.
Oh, okay. And we'll be, and that's the same date, because we are gonna, that's a good idea Augustine had about having separate rooms, because NYCHA don't want to hear about Mitchell-Lama, and
Exactly.
Mitchell-Lama don't want to hear about NYCHA.
Exactly. But we need
Yeah,
all the
true.
information, so you gotta, you know.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. And one of the things that I can see housing being tasked with is that we have a member in each room, so that we can absorb information and see how things go.
That's a
I can
good
see
idea,
that.
yes.
So, and when we come back and we do the breakdown, it's like, we saw this is what we would change, this is what we would enhance, you know, stuff like that.
And you're
'Cause
also
everybody
going
talks
to
about
record
affordable housing.
all of the rooms. You're
I'm
gonna
sorry?
record, you're going to record each room.
Yes, we're gonna record
So
each
we're
room.
gonna have a recorded record of what presentation was presented in each room. And
Yes.
then okay.
Yes. Okay, everybody, thank you for sharing your time. We're now moving towards 8:30. If you think of, I know, right? If you think of something, because now we have some presentations, and hold on, we have presentations, and we have one town hall, which is in June, and it's affordable housing, truly affordable housing. So if you, think of something that you think would make all of these things better, or if you think of something that you think, well, can't we add this or take this away, or what about? Send us an email, because everyone has everyone's email address, and just let's not wait till the meeting, because we want to get a lot of work done in the next couple months, okay? So I want to thank everyone for hanging around to 8:30, and because I know we all have stuff to do. And I want to say good night. And Jay, don't forget the King's Book presentation. The 35% is the social services.
That's Kingsborough West.
Kingsborough West. You're very
Kingsborough West.
specific, Jay.
which is that's the bad one. That's the problem. Kingsborough Jewish is working, is like, you know, working housing for, like, you know, working class people.
Right.
Kingsborough West is a massive one of supportive housing and the two homeless shelters. That's the problem, in my opinion.
Kingsborough West.
But also Kingsborough Jewish is very relevant.
And guys, look up cease and desist. And if there's a zip code here that if a zip code is not here, you think should be here, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. And remember, look at the sponsors. The sponsor of this bill. The sponsor of this bill is Kevin Parker. Okay, so let's talk about it. Everybody, thank you. Have a good night. Okay.
Good night.
And remember to use your email back and forth. Thanks again, Dante.
Of course. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Good night,
Thank
Wendy.
Ms.
Night.
Newsom,
Good
Yes.
night.
can I get
Yes,
your
Jay.
email? Can I get your email address to email you? Maybe, I don't know if you want to put it in the chat, or if
My email address is E as in Edward,
yes,
F as in Frank,
yes,
T as in Tom, A as in Apple,
yes.
11225@gmail.com.
Okay, that's EFTA1125@gmail.com.
It's the zip code of Brooklyn, 11225.
11225.
Right.
Great. Okay. And I'm
Okay.
I'm coming to the committee as a visitor, just to let you know. Of course, I'm not part of the committee. I'm a visitor.
No worries, no worries. Information is information, Jay.
Okay, very good.
As long as you play well with others, we'll be good.
Well, that I might do, but not too much. But okay. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Bye.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.